So finally then, we've started to move toward what in a recent book has been called the third culture. And even in the most recent version of C.P. Snow's book, but at Oxford, they talk about the emergence of the third culture. And that's really what we are here. You know, everybody in this room is here because they have a holistic view of reality that insists that you factor in an entire range of variables to who you are, who we all are, what the planet is, and so on. So there's really two things then, in wrapping up my comments, that have come out of this final development of this third culture, which takes into account what the wisdom traditions have always said was true, and what science then is starting to discover is true. And one is a fairly uniform definition of consciousness, which is important to understanding in the context of happiness and well-being, because it has to do with choice and the ability to understand the relationship of cause and effect. So the current definition of consciousness in science, and it's compatible then with what is also accepted in religion and psychology now, is that consciousness in any animal, and there's a grade across elephants, porpoises, go through the whole list, is when one part of the brain is simultaneously aware of what another part of the brain is doing or thinking, and therefore is able to have a dialogue about options and choices, and sees then the relationship of a cause and an effect. So in that context, it's very easy to understand again why we're here, talking about happiness and well-being, and why in the original putting together of this panel we had invited several neuroscientists to come and talk about what I ended up talking about, because it really comes down to seeing this really important of what we actually choose to do. The last part is that once we got technology like nuclear magnetic resonance scanning and could study form and function at the same time in the brain, then you've had the emergence of brain-mind studies. And if you look at the Nobel Prizes in about the last 10 years, a lot of them have gone to brain-mind studies. It's being done at Yale, it's being done at Harvard, Athabasca, NYU, a number of places. And what those brain-mind studies show, put together with statistical analysis, is that the big change that's going on now globally, and you can look and just look at the younger people that you know, the old boxes that we used to look through that emphasized ethnic identity, religious identity, national identity, sex or gender identity, all of these boxes are falling away in the common parlance to being relevant to how people want to live. We're moving out of the old world where things are seen in competing or conflicting boxes and into a world where the brain is starting to naturally see interconnectedness, mutuality, and then the word that floats around everywhere, oneness. So it seems to be the natural pattern. And for instance, if you take a look at our book, we have tons of statistics in there that show that what's emerging at a global level is this gestalt of connectedness and oneness.